Hi guys, it's Michelle from So Unique Designs and Smartstitch Trainer. A couple people in the group had asked if we can float our sweatshirts on the hoops that come with the machine, because not everybody wants to get mighty hoops and they want to use this, and that is perfectly fine. There's a lot of things you can make with these hoops and they work great, just some people are having trouble hooping them, plus the hoop burn, so they want to float it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm also going to show you a cool feature on your machine that you probably didn't know about. So you can make a placement box of your design right on the machine. You don't have to have software, and it'll help you get placement. And it also have the crosshairs, so you can do placement on your sweatshirt. So I had to use the little 5x5 design, and I already marked my sweatshirt. So let's get started. Okay, I have my hoop on the 1501. I'm using the 10-inch round one. It'll show you right here what your frame you're using. And the sewable field is 260 millimeters by 260 millimeters. You're going to make sure your design is small enough to fit inside there, plus allocate enough space for that border we're going to put around it. It won't take up a whole lot of space, but once you start getting to your corners close to the rounded edge, it could make it not fit in your frame. So I'm going to use the 5/7 design, and you can do this on the 1201 and the 1001. You can do this on all three machines. So get your design right here, then highlight it till it's got that red box around it. And then you will take and hit these three little dots right there. And then number 9, generate new design along design border. It's going to assign a new number. And I leave the stitch length at 4. That's default because we're using it as a guide, as a placement. So hit enter. And when you come to this screen, it's set at 100. That means that's going to be exactly the size around your design. If you want it to be a little bit bigger, so that way when you cut off your stabilizer, you'll cut off those stitches as well. You can change it to 115, 120, however bigger you want it to be, but your center will still stay the same. So if you make it at 100 and you have your center, if you make one at 115, that center point is still going to be the same. So you can make the stitches just a little bit bigger if you want to cut it out. It's up to you. Click the green check. And now you have a new pattern that is a box that would go exactly around here. So we can stitch our placement. So we're going to click it. Green check. Not changing anything. Green check. And let me just make my color black. Let's make it red since it's, let's make it black. That way you can see. So now you have a perfect placement box that has a center and lines that you can line up your sweatshirt on. Okay, let's get this shirt hooped. The way we're going to do this is the way that it's going into the machine is going to go bottom first. You'll see why in a minute, why it has to go through the bottom first. So you want the bottom of your sweatshirt to go into the machine. Okay, so you can do this any way you feel comfortable with. I used cutaway. Some people, when they float, they like to use sticky tearaway, sticky back, because that way then the sweatshirt does stick to where you want it. You could even move the box up a little bit more if you want, if you have clearance. Some people use 505 temporary adhesive spray. I don't, only because I've been seeing people say it's been staining their sweatshirts. So, and I don't like stuff gunking up my hoop. So you can, however you mark it, you can place your placement here. You can even print out a template of the design. If one of these does not come with your design when you buy them or make them, if you have Embroidery Essentials or Hatch, because those are the programs that I use, you can actually just pull your design in and then click print, and then it would print this. So it has, let me see, so the little crossovers, so you can see the placement on there. And then you can try to line that up on your shirt with your placement here, which I have mine like 3 inches down, and then you can just measure, or you can just measure how big your design is. It's almost 4 inches. It's like 3¼ So you can just measure how big it is and then find the center for that, the center mark. And then that's where that would be, right there. But I am going to pin mine. The fun part is getting the hoop inside this sweatshirt straight, which is why, one of the reasons I like this big cutting mat. So we can kind of, so the box is right here. We need the design. We will go right up there. So we're going to try to match that inside the shirt. Put this in here. Remember, your hoop goes upside down. And this, try to line up my marks on the big mat. That's why I love this thing. Makes it easier to try to help line it up. You just kind of make sure your center. You can even take a needle, a pen, and put it here. I'm gonna go, I didn't find the center of my design, so I'm just gonna put it on the top where them crosshairs is, right here, the top mark, because that's where I want the top of my design to start. And make sure everything is straight. Make sure the hoop is good, not crooked. Don't want your design to be crooked in there. Make sure there's enough space, there's clearance. And if it's exactly where you want it, just double check, because I think it shifted on me. When you get it exactly where you want it, we're gonna pin the sweatshirt. If you're using sticky stabilizer or the spray, you don't have to pin it, but I prefer to pin it versus the spray. You could go by this, or you can just kind of judge it. You wanna make sure that you're pinning on the outside of your design, out of the needle area. We don't want the needle to hit these pins. And make sure, try not to shift your fabric. Or sweatshirt, whatever. Okay, we're gonna go back to the machine and I'll show you how to put it on there. So this is why we're gonna put this in backwards, because when you're doing this on any multi-needle machine, you can do it on any machine, your fabric is gonna go over your hoop arms. So we're gonna put it in backwards to make sure we have enough clearance for that arm to move freely. Just click it in, make sure it's in place and it's not gonna move. And then just move, pull your sweatshirt down all the way. And it's just gonna hang over those arms, just like that. So now your sweatshirt should look like this. Make sure it doesn't get caught in that back rails back there. Some people use big clips or hair clips or anything like that. You're gonna make sure there's free, nothing's getting caught under there. Make sure this side is good. Okay, and now we're gonna go get our design. Now, if you had not moved this, if you kept that center, when we pull in our design and make that center, we need to flip it because we're upside down. Keep that centered. It should go right exactly where your placement was. If you move that placement box we created to anywhere in this hoop outside of the center, when you pull in your design, you're going to have to try to match it up to exactly where it was. Instead of doing that, you can just use the feature of combining two designs. So you would combine that placement box and this design, so when you move it, both will move. But that's a whole nother video. I'm not getting into that right now. So we're going to do this and we're going to make sure our placement is good, and we're going to do a trace. Remove the machine to needle number 1. And then we're going to do a trace. And if I had hooped this properly and got my sweatshirt in right there on that box, then when we do this trace, this one, it should go right on that line. It should be right centered properly. Okay, let's do a trace and make sure that it is where it needs to be. And I adjusted my little red light before I started this to make sure it should be where it needs to be. And it looks like I got that lined up exactly where it needs to go. This is the center. And then all you have to do is stitch out your design. I hope you found this helpful.